Welcome to the B2B Legend Show by Oneflow. I'm Josephine, your host, and on this show we dive into the stories behind some of the legends in the B2B world. Each episode we chat with industry leaders to explore their journeys, challenges and insights. Today we're joined by Hans Bunes, co-founder of Bunes and Ferenczi. In this episode we'll dive into Hans's career journey and also talk about the importance of building relationships and the need for accountability in professional growth. Hello everyone, today we have Hans Bunes here, co-founder of Bunes and Ferenczi. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Josephine, for having me.
Really looking forward to get to know you, your career journey. So let's kind of just jump right into it. So if you could walk us through from the beginning, your first job and how you kind of ended up to where you are today.
Well, I'll try to do this in a kind of an abbreviated version, so I don't go off on a long journey. But I was a university student in the U.S. In my 20s, and when I was done as a university student in 1996, there was only one company I wanted to work for, and it was a company known as the Hewlett-Packard Company, or today HP. And I was willing to do anything I could in order to get a job in HP. So in April of 1997, that tells me a little bit about how old I am. I started as a software tester for testing software in HP. And over the next 2 years, I did various roles, something called escalation management and support and stuff, until I was hired as a product manager for Europe. For a product group in HP called HP ScanJet, which was my first, let's call it real job, where I had a real HP badge on and all these other things. And I moved from Colorado in the US to southern Germany, and I was based in southern Germany. And I absolutely loved that job. My big role was to do new product introductions. Every time we would roll out a new product, twice a year essentially, I would bring those products out to market, go to all these press conferences and all these press tours and all of these things with resellers and even retailer at that time. That was my bread and butter. Then I stayed with HP for another 8 to 10 years, but I moved to Sweden for personal reasons. And I worked in mostly European roles in support, in business development. So we stood up one of the first e-commerce sites for HP in Europe for consumers. So we built that business up as a team. And then I decided to leave HP. That was kind of the first half of my career. And I went into management consulting. We had this little Swedish telecom company called Ericsson as our primary client. So I traveled to just about every strange place you can imagine with Ericsson in India, in Iran, in Senegal, in South Africa, Tunisia, you name it, I was there working on change management. It was a lot of fun, but it was also strenuous to be away 26 out of 52 weekends a year. So I started and decided that my big dream in life was to never have anyone else pay me a paycheck but to be self-employed. So since 2010, I have in one way or the other been self-employed, but typically through long contracts that I've done. Company in Switzerland, I was in e-learning for a while. Then in 2014, I started to working in B2B marketing, and in particular something that rose to the forefront at that point in time in account-based marketing. Mm-hmm. So I was working for a company that was founded by someone here in Sweden. I went from never really sold anything in a B2B to building out some of the first account-based marketing programs for several Fortune 500 companies in the world, both here in Europe and in North America. And through that work, I ended up building, a large contact base. So in 2020, after doing that for about 6-7 years, and this COVID thing came around, and I felt it was time to do something different. And so my business partner Susanna was a marketing director at HPE for Northern Europe at the time. we decided to take some of the learnings of all the work that she and I had done the previous 3 years and set up our own business as Bunes and Ferenczi. So today we work predominantly with B2B tech companies from seed level, not surprising in any ways with our background, also with Fortune 500 companies. And we help them to really create their ideal customer profiles. We help them with data and insights and analytics to drive their business forward.
Nice. And looking into like in the early stage of your career, was this the route that you wanted to take or that you imagined yourself to take, or was there kind of a different points where you felt like now I need to switch it up? Or do you think that how it ended up was how you thought it would?
No, there's nothing. I can admit that there's very little about my career that's been planned, and people have 5 years plans and all these other things. You know, we have this expression, as you know, Josephine, here in Sweden, about the banana peel. You're kind of slipping on the banana peel, and sometimes I feel my career is a bit like slipping on a banana peel. I slip and I go into one direction that I didn't think I would go. But I think there's some commonalities in there, which is very interesting. I have never gotten a job that I applied for. I've never applied for a job that I got, which means that, and what I mean by that is that the things that I ended up doing, I typically created myself. I created myself even when I was at HP. My 2 last jobs at HP, I created by putting together an idea and went to senior managers way, way above me with an idea, which they believed in, and I created those opportunities in there. And most of the opportunities that have come through relationships that I built over the years of great people, many times much more senior than me or much more experienced than me, but building those relationships. I think what happens with me in particular is that every 3 to 5 years, I wouldn't say I get bored, but I kind of pivot a little bit and I find something slightly different. And therefore, like this planning out of career and all these other things for me has never been in there. I'm more interested, what can I do now that I really think I will enjoy, and who can I work with who I can really enjoy with. So, I mean, I wanted to be a history teacher. That was kind of what I thought I was going to be, and find myself in marketing instead. So no, not very much of what I've done has been very well planned. No.
No. I want to be a lawyer, and here I am in marketing. So
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. You really never kind of know. You can maybe have this plan. I myself is like trying to set up this like 5 years plan that I'm trying to follow, but I feel like if you also like follow those plans strict, you kind of miss opportunities as well, and maybe isn't as open to opportunities that come your way.
I think we have to respect that we have different people have different needs and different kind of aspirations and different safety nets, if you will, right? There's some people really want safe, stable environment, and therefore kind of the 5 year plan and following that makes a lot of sense. Some people are very entrepreneurial, will jump on anything they do. I just kind of I've reflected a lot on this over the last couple of years. For me, it's like nothing that really I've done have really been planned. They more happen, but they also happen because of relationship, and it also happen because of being open to the opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And how did the opportunity appear for you and your co-founder when you started Bunes and Ferenczi?
So Susanna was working as a marketing director for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise in Northern Europe, and it's a pretty big business. I mean, there was the Nordics and the Benelux, and before that, she even had Switzerland and Austria in there. And it was interesting. I was nurturing this relationship from a business perspective, and that nurturing relationship ended up being to where I was no longer only trying to sell to her, but she was also actually bringing me in as her confidant when she had problems she wanted to help solve. And I moved more and more away from kind of the selling to an advisory role for multiple clients that I was working with. And we had a particular problem, and this is in the public domain, so I can talk about this because typically I try to keep confidential information, but we've talked about this in the public in the past. So we were trying to find out what's the next right target for HPE in Sweden and the Netherlands to actually go after, to target what customers would it be. And so I was working with Bisnode, or now Dun & Bradstreet at the time, and I gave Susanna an idea about using a machine learning model, an AI machine learning model that Bisnode had, that could rank a lot of different companies to how close they were to a good customer for HPE. And that ended up being kind of the embryo of our business, because we saw this problem that they were having, even a sophisticated $26 billion company like HPE, of really understanding sometimes who's the right customer at this time for us. And so when Susanna decided to leave, after 21 years in HPE and 26-year, kind of corporate career, to do something different, we said, why don't we take this knowledge and everything we learned, combine it with everything we had, and package this around this notion of solving this particular problem, is who has the right customers for this tech company to go after in an acquisition perspective. So that's what we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. God, no, 3 years. 3.5 years. Time flies. And we ended up working with some seed level companies, and also find ourselves both surprising and unsurprisingly in some Fortune 500 companies. And they're not called HP, by the way. And we've had some great success, and we've had some struggles like everyone else in order to get kind of the right business, get the business to the right level where we can both kind of live off this as well, because that's the other part of it as well, right? Is you have to make an earning to live it. You can be passionate about something, but you have bills to pay as well. So that's taking a trajectory, but we're there now.
And what has been one of the most unexpected struggles when starting your company?
My dad always says never to forget the 3 T's. Mm-hmm. Things take time, okay? So your best laid 1 month plan turns into 3 months. Your best laid 1 year plan turns into 3 years, right? So I think it's the notion of I think we are, as human beings, optimistically biased when it comes to time. Yeah. I think we think things are going to go quicker than what they actually do. And so I think that's the bit that I underestimated, the time it would take. And also kind of the focus. We ended up maybe doing too many different things at the same time, when it was like, if it had been just, this is the only thing we do, and we do it, maybe it would have been a bit quicker. But things take time. And then once they click and you have it there, then you can keep the time element in a different way, because now you can have projects you work on with customers, and then you can have conversations about new customers and going. But when you only are looking for new customers and you have nothing that's proven yet, then it's a little more difficult. But the second now that we've had great success with the Fortune 500 company that we work with, it's easier for me to say to other people I know in the industry, hey, I want to walk you through something we've done with someone in your industry peer. Do you have the same kind of issues? Would you want some of us to help? And now it's like, yes, we have the same issues. Can you please come and help us?
Yeah, right. And if you would give one advice to B2B tech companies in an early stage of their company, what would be one advice that you would give them, and what is kind of the most important thing to think about to grow?
I think the most difficult, and I'm not talking more on a human level now, because I think the one thing that took me the longest to learn as a professional is to take accountability for my own mistakes, my own successes. Always one of the things, when things get rough, and they do get rough in an early stage company, in a different way than in a big Fortune 500 company that I work for. And I work for myself. I worked for 4 people. I worked for 350,000. So I've seen it all in that sense. But the one thing that it took me a very long time is that ability to take accountability for the things that I make, where I made mistakes, when I've done the wrong thing, when I've done anything. Because if you learn that very early on, your interactions with your peers are going to get much easier. And that to me, and I have a specific incident in mind that I always think about there when it's like, I was in my, late 20s, and it was I should have been accountable for it, but I blamed it on someone else, and I wrote a bad email and all of these other things. And it's one of those things where it's like, I wasn't mature enough because I didn't take that accountability, the strong end. So that to me is the thing, is stand up for who you are, stand up for what you believe, and all these other things. But when you're wrong, be accountable for it, because it will help you later on to grow, because it's painful as, excuse my French, heck. But it is really, really something that you carry with you moving forward.
Yeah, love it. It's really to kind of also self-reflect, I guess, to really also get to know yourself, your limits, and what you're good at and all that. And also you learn from your mistakes. So yeah, for sure.
A perfect example today. I can still write an email in affection, right? But I'll never send it anymore.
Yeah.
I'll wait 1 or 2 or 3 days, because what you will find is that you're 90% factually right and 90% off on the tone.
Yeah.
So what you want to get is to remove the tone and get kind of the facts right, and also keeping in mind that the other side of it may also be infected, and therefore they will reading through in the glasses. Ideally, you pick up the phone and or you meet face to face and you get it solved in that way. But at least no more emails sent in affection ever again. That was like just a perfect example of what I learned after that.
Yeah. Great advice, and good thing to really think about. I think that every person really have to keep that in mind, because we all make mistakes and we all are in the wrong sometimes. That's and I want to move our kind of shift of focus to looking more ahead and looking more into the future. So are there any kind of specific trends within B2B tech and within your space that you are particularly excited about, and how do you think that will evolve in the future?
So everyone is talking about AI and ML and all these other things in sales and marketing today. And I have the petrified eye. I have the worrying part of this, and I have the opportunity space in it. So the worrying thing that's happening right now, in my view, is that we're aiming, that's what I call it, frontline people who are prospecting with what I call personality at scale stuff, where I'm still writing you an email. Yes, it's personalized, and my outreach to you is very personalized, but it doesn't mean it's still relevant, because we haven't asked ourselves the question is this the right type of customer, and is the timing right now for us to reach out to this customer? Okay. Where I'm excited and where we are playing in the AI and ML space is that we're using predominantly machine learning, and more than to say, is this the right type of customer? Can we create value for this? So our customers, can they create value for this type of customer? And so we're using machine learning to ascertain whether or not they can do that. And now we're toying also with machine learning to say, if we know that out of these 10,000 companies in Sweden, maybe 7,000 of them are good, and 7,000, we rank those 7,000 in to criteria that the machine has helped us to do. And we know that if 5 of these 25 things happen, then the timing is more likely to be good for us to market to them or to sell to them. Then is to use that type of ML to be much more precise on who we should target and when we should target it. Because what I'm worried about right now is we're deploying AI and ML in the orchestration without asking ourselves the question if, are we actually going after the right targets at the right time? And that's the exciting bit that I see. And I think any one of us need to understand how to use AI and ML in our work. But at the same time, I'm worried about the orchestration part. I'm also worried about fundamentals, because I think the problem is that I'm seeing is that we're in MarTech and sales tech and RevOps and all these other things are kind of taking away the fundamentals for people, right? Do I understand my customer? Do I understand my market? Do I understand the problem? Do I understand that? So yes, hopefully it will make it more efficient and effective, but let's not forget about fundamentals. It's still buyers, it's still humans are going to buy from us on the other end. So we have to understand them, the fundamentals in that sense as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's a common theme, like the AI will make us more efficient, but also like it still can't replace the human part of most things. So yeah. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Now it's the pivot question again. It's a so it's I don't know exactly what I see in 5 years. What I'd like to see in 5 years is that I continue to work with fabulous clients in the B2B tech in the go-to-market space. One of the big dreams we have in Bunes and Ferenczi is to be able to reach our audience in a better way, to productize everything we have up here and everything we've got in our fingers in a way to teach people. Some people that work in consulting and advisory want to build customers for as long as they can. Our first order of business is to make ourselves redundant. Okay. And the way we make ourselves redundant is we transfer everything we know to other people. So we're thinking about productizing this in a way where we could get more people to hopefully think the way we do about customers. So that's the kind of the next focus for us, is to productize our knowledge and package it in a different way. And then I really hope in the next 5 years that I will be able to pay back more, do more mentoring, do maybe more kind of advisory boards, that type of work. It was another big thing for me.
Yeah, exciting. Sounds good. And to kind of wrap up the session that we have had here, time goes fast. I have some kind of quick questions for you. So let's start off with, what's one habit that you think has contributed to your success?
Networking.
And who do you learn from?
It's going to sound bad. I actually, quite honestly, Josephine, learn from every conversation I have different things every day. So it's actually having the conversation with people that teaches me the most today.
So then my next question might be not for you, but which books or kind of podcast would you recommend to someone who wants to develop in their career? So
I thought about this question because I think people are different. I'm a learner through doing. So my reading is not books. I read more kind of general stuff. So the thing that have taught me the most is actually The Economist. So I've been reading The Economist every week for the past 15 years. And because it generally gives me politics, it generally gives me, all these other things, because I'm a generalist, I'm not a specialist. So therefore I find that most interesting. So that to me is that, and then I learn more by doing and through conversations.
Okay, awesome. And who do you think should be in the next interview?
Who should be in the next interview? So I nominated 2 ladies when this came out. So Jen, I think she's very, very good. That would be my first one that I would nominate. Her voice needs to be heard every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hans, for sharing your journey, your knowledge, and all the tips. It has been really great listening to.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to not miss future episodes. See you in the next one.